Hey everybody, it is Julia Hurley and welcome to another episode of Connect the Knox, connecting Knoxville to the nation. So with me today is one of my all new favorite Knoxvillians. I did not even know she existed. I was very excited to find this as I was scrolling through Instagram one day. I'm going to use her name that's listed right above here as you see, not her real name. We're calling her Chicken Librarian because that is the name of her business. And when I talk with her or about her to other people, I literally say, you have to call Chicken Librarian. We do not even call you Kristin. Your name does not exist. It is simply Chicken Librarian. So welcome to the show, Miss Chicken Librarian. I am so excited to have you here today.
Well, thank you. That is such a warm welcome. And I don't mind being called Chicken Librarian. I get called Chicken Lady a lot too.
Hey, Chicken Lady. So I can guarantee you there are listeners do not know who you are or what you do. And I am absolutely fascinated that you have brought this to Knoxville and that it is available and affordable on top of that. So it's one of the things I brag about the most is that I found this organization online and could not wait to get into a class and then couldn't get into a class. You're booked out and finally got into a class, had an absolute blast. I am going to pass this over to you to introduce yourself and tell everybody exactly what it is that you do and why you're doing it and how we ended up here in Knoxville.
So my name's Kristin and I own Chicken Librarian. I teach traditional Southern Appalachian heritage skills with modern conveniences. So basically, I started homesteading. It's just a very fancy way of saying homesteading. I started homesteading back in like 2008, 2009 and fell in love with it. And there was this big, huge movement in the homesteading world. And you had people like Ashley English, who is small, I believe her Small Measure. And then you have Cold Antler Farm, and you have Jenny Scheller, Alicia Paulson. These were some of the really big names in the homesteading, like making world. And I just thought, how fascinating and how cool. So, I was a librarian at the time. And so I started kind of diving into all things homesteading. My dad grew up on an 80-acre working farm in Powell, and lived there the majority of his life, with the exception of a few years. But then he didn't want anything to do with it. So he said, I don't want to be a farmer. I don't want to do any of this stuff. So I didn't grow up with any of that. So I kind of taught myself. And then I decided that I was kind of in between jobs, and I decided to start my business, Chicken Librarian. And I had chickens and I was a librarian. So it just kind of, I wish there was like a really cool something story behind it, but there's not. I had chickens. I was a librarian, not very creative, but I love roosters. Gosh, I could go down on so many tangents, but I love roosters. So I had a couple roosters for my first flock, and then some hens. And I never had roosters after that, but I do enjoy roosters and I do enjoy chicken keeping. I enjoy all things homesteading. But so then I had some personal things going on in my life, and then I decided to leave. I was in upstate New York for about 20 years, give or take a couple of years back here in Tennessee, which is where I started homesteading. And so I decided it was time to move back to Tennessee, and I'm from Knoxville. So I moved to Knoxville in May of 2023, and then just kind of decided that I wanted to bring my business. I kind of put my business on hold for a couple of years, and I just decided, let's see what happens. And boy, Knoxville has really opened its arms to this business. That's for sure.
So two things I want to point out to everybody listening, because we have a lot of people, like I said, connecting Knoxville to the nation, not the other way around. So people leave me notes and comments all the time about our accents. And one of the things is the guy that I had on before we were talking with you today is director of Knox YP Knox. And he is from another place, but has relocated here and started the organization back. And his accent is so different. So your family's from Powell, which we call Powell, right? So Powell, it's P-A-L, Powell. But it is spelled Powell, Powell, but we call it Powell.
Correct.
So anybody that's listening, Powell is North Knoxville. So when someone says, what part of Knoxville do you want to live in? Powell is Powell, Tennessee, and it is located directly next to Halls, Tennessee. And whatever Halls has, they have it. We're just not sure what it is. All the things, all the things.
We're working on it.
You're working on it. And then Knoxville is Knoxville for all y'all out there listening, Knoxville. And this is something that I say to everybody that relocates, that we add a UL to everything we say. Merville, Knoxville, wherever you are. So Powell in Knoxville is where you are. And go into a little bit about, that's an 80-acre farm is a lot to maintain, a lot to upkeep, moving away, coming back, making the decision to reopen a business. Homesteading is kind of a very popular and growing want and need for this younger Gen Z generation. Genuinely, they are very interested in less is more attitude. Tell us about the classes that you teach. What are your most attended classes and what does that entail?
So my most popular class is mozzarella cheese making, which I believe you did.
Super did. I made the best cheese. It was delicious. Everybody says so.
I remember it. You did a really good job. So basically my classes kind of run in a cycle. So there will be some classes that will be really, really popular, but like cheese making, I won't do again until the fall. Just to keep the interest there, and to keep rotating through classes and stuff. Cause there's a big variety that I teach that I don't want to just focus on one thing right now, maybe down the line, who knows what'll happen in the future. So cheese making, mozzarella, it's a 30-minute cheese. Ricky Carroll is the writer of that recipe. She's cheesemaking.com. As you know, I think she's the guru for cheese making. And I just teach people how to do this 30-minute mozzarella that's super easy and literally will take you 30 minutes in your house. Now, it takes us about an hour whenever we're out and about because we're not in our own kitchens. So I just basically take all my stuff to wherever the venue is. And you, I believe, took it at Highwire Brewing. And I offer it at Appalachian Arts Crafts Center. I've been at IMES. I've been at the Knoxville Botanical Garden. I mean, I've been so many places. So my second most popular class, if memory serves me, is fermentation. And that one I've done at Knoxville Arts Center. I've done cheesemaking at Knoxville Arts Center. I also now do fermentation at the Butchery over on Sutherland, which is Frog Juice Kombucha. And we do that one at Appalachian Arts Crafts Center. I do them all over the place, but those are my two really popular classes. So basically what it is I just basically show up at the venue with all the stuff that you need. And we take our time going through these classes, and they basically give you everything you need to be successful to go home and recreate that or continue experimenting. Because, things like fermentation, we start with an apple scraps vinegar. We do a sourdough starter sometimes. And then we do, I've been doing fermented red cabbage. That can change as it gets, as the seasons go on.
Is that kimchi? Are you making kimchi?
We're not making kimchi. Kimchi is a fermentation, but it's a little bit more of a process. We're doing so it's basics of fermentation. So we're just kind of tipping the scale at with what we're doing in class. So basically the way my classes run is you do, there's demos where you watch me do that thing. There's also the kind of the 101, if you will, where you get to do this basic introductory thing. It's all hands-on. And then there would be a 102, a 103, a 104, so on and so forth, or a 201, 202, whatever that thing is. So for example, I do canning, which is water bath canning. That's canning 101. And then I do canning 102, which is a pressure canning. And then, you can dive into these topics a little deeper. I'm just scratching the surface right now. So basically all I've really been offering is 101 classes and then the canning 102. So kimchi would be fermentation 101 or that kind of thing. But it's kind of the same. You're on the right train of thought there. That's exactly what we're doing.
Nice. I love the classes. I honestly say I really enjoyed the cheese making class because we got beer. I will tell you the soap class though it was my first class with you. I made soap. And for anybody out there that thinks this stuff is just easy, she makes it easy. I'm not gonna lie, you make it easy, but it's still not easy. It is a very chemistry heavy conversation, very step by step, very involved on learning how to do these things. And I sent you a picture of the canning. I made peach jam and I spent, I probably spent $50 on peaches. I spent 4 hours peeling peaches. I got a cramp in my hand. That was super fun. After it was all said and done with, I got all of 11 jars out of about 3.5 to 4 hours of work. And my husband laughed. He said, well, we can eat for the winter now. I mean, there's no way. These kinds of projects take serious dedication and time. And as we continue to learn as a society, I think that we prefer to create things for ourselves. Your classes are teaching us how to do that in 2 hours max. And that's with the explanation and the enjoyment factor and the camaraderie and. So as you continue to grow, are you going to like bring people to your farm? Is it going to be, hey, you've got to come to me. I have too many people. I can't do this. You're going to do private events. Are you going to tell us more about your growth plan?
Yes. So right now I'm completely in person. Like I'm not in Farragut at all. And I know that there's a lot of people who are in Farragut who would like to do this kind of stuff. And that's way west for us, right? So I need to, so I'll always continue to kind of expand and find new venues and that kind of thing. So that would be one growth. The second growth would be doing classes outside of Knoxville as well. I feel like this could grow and expand outside. And it could be just a one-time thing. Like I'm at the Great Smoky Mountains Heritage Center in Townsend doing some canning coming up this month and in July. But it's also, expanding into those 102s and 202, 201 classes as well that we just talked about. But I think that there is potential to do this online and to offer kind of an on-demand thing for people in terms of videos. I think there's also a way to offer just like a little PDF for people to purchase. You don't, make it affordable for people. Not everybody's going to be able to afford the videos. Not everybody's going to be able to afford the in-person classes, even though, like you said, the classes are priced, I think, really reasonable. But, not everybody can afford that. And I get that. But maybe they just want a little PDF to kind of help them through. We're going to do that too. We, meaning me. I do like to always say we because one day there will be a team. And so, I'm already got the we part of it, but we meaning me. And then I think that there's opportunities to do private classes as well. I've always done private classes and I also do consultations. So for example, if somebody wants to purchase a homestead or they have purchased some property and they want to turn it into a homestead, I can come out, walk the property with them. I can look at their facilities. I can, maybe they don't have a barn or a chicken coop or whatever. I can also walk the property and show them where the good place to do the garden or the chickens, or maybe they already have some livestock on the property and they're having some issues. I can come out and walk the property and help them kind of troubleshoot some of the things that they're seeing on their property as well. So there's multifacets to this, but I'm just, I kind of feel like moving back to Knoxville and bringing the business and kind of recreating the business here in Knoxville. I'm just getting started is how I look at it. So I'm looking forward to that growth too.
We all know that real estate is location, location, location.
Our team at Just Homes Group has the true expertise, pairing buyers and sellers with the right opportunities.
Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home right here in Knoxville,
Lenoir City, Clinton, or Farragut, we have the expertise throughout every Knoxville surrounding area. Call Just Homes Group today.
Did you take over your dad's 80 acres?
No. So he only owns the last 10 acres of that. I'm not doing anything there, but I think ultimately, you had asked me about that and I forgot that part of it. Ultimately, I would like to have my own homestead where people come to me. Or in the meantime, and while I'm looking for that kind of more permanent homestead, I think that maybe there's a space to rent somewhere where it would just be mine. Like that would be kind of part of that growth factor as well. So, and then people would come to me and I would have it all set up and, maybe there's a little, I don't know, I pipe dream all the time. There's a little store attached to it and, whatever. So I don't know. The possibilities are endless.
The possibilities in the Knoxville market right now are endless. People are very up on moving here and getting settled here. Everyone I talk with wants some land. They want some kind of freedom. So, Knoxville has not necessarily been the most farm friendly. When I mean farm friendly, meaning one person farms. I mean, we have a ton of farmland here and a lot of people farm their land. But as far as being able to understand in a simple form in an hour or less how to grow anything or make anything for yourself, it's not been very friendly. And all of a sudden, this has become a very popular event venue, a very popular thing to do. And when people see that it's really not that hard, it's not that time consuming, where do you see the trajectory of this conversation going, not just for Knoxville, but everywhere?
So I can talk about upstate New York a lot because I live 2 hours from New York City, and they're same where people are just, there's this big influx of people leaving the urban areas and coming to the, more rural areas, and they want to know how to do this stuff. And I think for me, it's just getting my name out and just showing people that this of me. I say, I want to make this as easy as possible for people. I want people to get their hands dirty. And I don't care if it's just one thing that you change. Like if it's just the mozzarella cheese that you make you come to the class, you take the cheese class and you say, this is good enough for me. I'm happy with that. But I would like to, expand this and, just really help people get back to the basics. People are really, this has been a huge, and I think COVID had a lot to do with this, bringing it to the forefront of people. There was the big sourdough starter. There was a lot of people who were gardening and chicken keeping and things like that. But I really am in tune with, I will teach you the proper way to do things. And then I will tell you how to take shortcuts in order to get it done. Because most of us are still working, right? We all have our 9-to-5 gigs and we're still trying to raise our families and have our social lives and do all the things. But also still try to get back to basics as much as we can. And that's kind of my goal, is to help people figure out how to do that in a really simplified, easy way.
Yeah, I have found that, all the things that we try to learn in our lifetime, all the things that we try to take advantage of, everything takes time. It genuinely just takes time. And I would say in the course of my lifetime, I've probably killed 35 chickens, couldn't figure out how to raise them right, or the Blitzer to 93. If anybody remembers that, 6 chickens died. So chickens are out for me. Can't do the chicken thing. Never understood the chickens. Couldn't get them fed properly. Couldn't get them off the ground properly. Really could not figure this out. And it becomes a situation where you're like, well, maybe I'll never be able to survive on my own. And then COVID happened. And then we all think, oh my God, we're going to have to learn how to survive on our own. And as society has continued to bring to light, Monsanto and all the things that we are eating and putting into our bodies, and we feel bad and our mental health is bad, and we're talking more freely about how we genuinely feel as a society, things are changing. Figuring these things out is so much more relevant. So much more relevant. And if things go the way that people want them to go, and we do somehow magically over the next decade or 25 years take any preservatives out of our foods and go back to natural foods, much like a lot of other countries have done in the world, we will need to know how to do this. Preserving your food is extremely important. Preserving anything is very important. It is gone in 24 hours or less otherwise, and you bring that to the table. So the growth plan is an eventual homestead for yourself. People come to you in a business with it. Totally get that. I love that. Kind of like the Appalachian Museum, right? So I think that's a huge undertaking. That family's been working on that for 2 generations. And they've finally gotten it to the point where it's profitable and popular, which is taking advantage of what's going on right now. In the grand scheme of things, how many people can you truly bring through a program like this, where you maybe get them to like the 401s and truly cut them loose and say, listen, you've got a tiny home. It's got its own compost waste department. You've got your own rainwater gathering. You are off the grid. You've graduated. You're off grid.
I personally think there's no end to it. I don't, because it's not just in Knoxville, right? So it's all over. It's all over. It's everywhere. And if you go on to like social media, you'll see some really big accounts that are homestead based, and they're teaching people how to do stuff. They're not going out and helping them. They're just doing it via video, right? And it's not a one-on-one thing. And I think there's something to be said. I think there's kind of like, would be like 2 kind of different viewpoints. One is the people who, I just want to watch YouTube. I want to go on social media. I want to learn myself. Great. I'm going to have the resources for those people too. I'm going to have the PDFs. I'm going to have some little, what are they called? Shorts on YouTube or reels on Instagram or whatever. So you've got like the people who don't necessarily want to come to a class or whatever, but then you also have the people who really, truly, I get a lot of repeat customers. I'll be honest. I get a lot of new people, but I get a lot of repeat customers as well. And this is new to me. Like whenever I was in upstate New York, I didn't necessarily get repeat customers as much as I do here in Knoxville. So I think that there will be really no end to what the growth that, getting people to go through from basics to graduating, like you said, to having whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be necessarily, the whole off-grid, solar powered, whatever. It could literally just be one thing. Like I said, I want to learn how to garden. And then with that, how do I preserve that garden? So we're going to freeze, we're going to dehydrate, we're going to can, we're going to do those kind of things. And we're going to start our seeds, we're going to save our seeds. And so now we have become self-sufficient in a way that we're not necessarily relying on our grocery stores anymore. And we're not, the other thing I really want people to understand is, especially in Knoxville, and more like the larger areas, Knoxville, I'm thinking like Knoxville, Chattanooga, Greenville, Johnson City, the areas that have the farm markets. Let's rely on in really a local economy. Let's rely more on our local small businesses before we go to the bigger box stores. There's a place obviously for box stores. I don't think we're ever going to get away from that, but let's start to kind of rethink what we're doing and how we're shopping and where we're spending our money.
Sure. I think that's a great idea. I can't live without Costco. I literally can't live without Costco. The amount of food that I eat that's fresh food, there's no way I could grow that for myself. There's absolutely no capability of me growing 13 pounds of blueberries. We go through blueberries by massive quantities a day in this house. So there's no way for me to do that without tons of acreage and thousands of employees working a true farm just to feed our family. That would be impossible. But we also do make the effort very much to shop at all the farmers markets and make sure that we buy all of our vegetables from the people who are the Oak Ridge Farmers Market's huge. We love the Oak Ridge Farmers Market. It is massive. It's one of the biggest ones, I think, in the area as far as being able to literally go and shop a whole meal. You can go and get bread, vegetables, meat, eggs, cheeses, spreads. You can do a whole meal at the Oak Ridge Farmers Market, which is almost impossible to say about a farmer's market. A lot of people just bring whatever's in season, and it's a lot of the same people bringing the same thing. And Oak Ridge has all of the different things. So huge, huge event every weekend. And we love that. And we go because it's one, fresh food, and two, because you need to get to know the people that are going to make the food just in case you need them. You may need those people. You don't know.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of like the point to hit on, is that I do think that just starting to reframe that mindset of, instead of heading straight to the big box store, like even for gift giving, let's not talk about food even. Let's kind of back it up a little bit. Gift giving. We have so many small local businesses who have really made a name for themselves in Knoxville and kind of nationally too, and internationally, so let's shop and support those makers and those artists as well. And then we can go fill in elsewhere or whatever, I don't know. I just think local economy, local community, local, businesses has always been kind of an important thing for me. And kind of that goes hand in hand with the whole homesteading and getting back to basics. And my problem is that I'm always like, I can make that. And, sometimes I'll be like, I can make that. And I know I can make that, but sometimes it comes down to the timing, right? Can you really make that? Can you make all those gifts? So anyway, it's like, support the local economy, support your local businesses, go shop the farm markets, and then go fill in at the other, the bigger box stores. So you're still supporting your local community.
Have you considered reaching out over at the Knox Ag School to see if you could put together a program?
I am thinking if I talk to them or not. I have not talked to them.
Reach out to Keith Carver, and I'll make sure to make that, like I'm connect the Knox. Keith Carver was on our podcast to talk about the growth of the ag department at the University of Tennessee, and they are growing leaps and bounds. I mean, this man is genuinely so involved. And I mean, that leadership in general at UT's changed completely into a positive. But Dr. Keith Carver, who is over the ag department at the moment, is really and truly bringing in new thought processes, new education programs, and making sure that we are focused back on ag. As the state of Tennessee, our commerce, ag, and it's kind of part of our state motto. So agriculture's literally in our state motto and state symbol. We need to make sure that we protect that. And I feel like you're doing that for Knoxville. I feel like you're really moving forward on something that a lot of areas could take advantage of. And you've brought that here. It's enjoyable, it's simple, and it's affordable. And it's something that I think people should know is available to them. People are always like, what do I do on a weekend? There's nothing to do. It's raining. Can't go to the mountains. Can't do a hike. There is something that Chicken Librarian has for you. I promise. Just look it up on a weekend. We have very limited time. I have loved speaking with you. I love spending time with you. I appreciate you. Tell everyone that's listening how they can find you and where they can subscribe to your newsletter and schedule events.
Sure. And I really appreciate you. I said this to you before, that you are really all things Knoxville. You are just like really bringing it all together. And I appreciate you having me on here. So again, I'm Kristin. I own Chicken Librarian. I have a website, chickenlibrarian.com. You can sign up for my newsletter through that. You can also email me through that. I have a contact page, but I also have Facebook and I have Instagram, and they're both at Chicken Librarian. And my events, I have an events page. I have a Google Calendar on my website, so people can go straight to my website, click on 2024 events, and you can see it. I just updated June's. I've got about 8 more events this month, so there's still plenty of time and opportunities to catch me somewhere.
I love it. I love it. Okay, we have 3 minutes, and here's going to be the fun part. We're going fire round. Favorite restaurant?
Oh, why are we doing fire round? Favorite restaurant? You know what? I love Aubrey's.
Oh,
I love
yes.
Aubrey's. Yes, I love Aubrey's.
Aubrey's
yeah,
is
good.
honestly, we lost our Aubrey's here in Lenore City. The hospital in Lenore City needed the building. They were leasing from them. So they have taken their building back and they've purchased a property, but it will be 9 to 12 months before they rebuild the Aubrey's. So here in Lenore City, we're out in Aubrey's. It is very sad. We have to drive to Maryville or Farragut. Or no, Farragut doesn't have one anymore either. So we're going all the way to Cedar Bluff.
Oh, see, I do the one in Powell.
Yep. And I'm telling
lucky.
you, you cannot beat Aubrey's. Yeah.
Yes.
Fresh food.
So
that
good.
place is fantastic. Whew, girl, you got me craving an Aubrey salad now.
Yeah. I like their tuna. They have a really, what is it? The tuna sandwich?
Their fried catfish is also delicious.
Yes.
Yes. We can just name the whole menu. Right. And the things that are no longer on the menus, they will still make. Totally fine.
Oh,
favorite
I didn't
bar.
know that. You know what? I'm not much of a drinker, so I don't go out very often. Where was I recently? Oh my gosh, totally forgot the name of it. It's over on Broadway and like Central
Flats and Taps?
No, it was the brewery. Oh my gosh, now I'm going to have to look it up. Oh, see, you should have warned me about this. Oh my gosh, I'm going to use my 3...
This is why we have got to get actual genuine, like round, like go-go's, you know?
It's not Albright. It's not, okay, we'll come back. What's the next question?
Favorite gas station. Everybody has one. Everybody has a favorite gas station. I like, if I can make it, I like the Casey's off of Campbell Station. It's as soon as I get off the interstate, I go in, I get out, I keep going. I'm very on that side of the road. So that's the one that I like. And then if I'm coming the other way, it's Weigel's on Campbell Station.
I like a good Weigel's though. There's, I don't have a favorite Weigel's, although the one that pops into my head first thing is the one on Emory and Dry Gap out near me.
Oh yeah. So everybody has a favorite specific location of their favorite gas station. It is an odd question to ask, but people love it. Favorite sandwich shop.
Oh, Steamboat. Yep. Love them.
Yeah. Right on that strip in Powell. Yes. I know where you are. I see you.
I don't get out very often.
That's okay. I know. So listen, it's been 30 minutes. I appreciate your time. I've very much enjoyed seeing your face and how amazing you are and how positive you are. for the growth of Knoxville and the homesteading community. We appreciate everything you do. Thank you so much for listening in to another episode of Connect the Knox. I'm Julia Hurley, connecting Knoxville to the nation. Until next time.
Thank you for tuning into the show. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a 5-star review on your podcast player of choice. And if you would like information on moving to Knoxville, send me a private message. As always, this is Julia Hurley, connecting Knoxville to the nation.